friends, it's Katie from Lady Red Crafting. Today, I've got 5 absolutely adorable DIY Christmas ornaments that you're going to want to make right away. So let's grab your favorite craft supplies and jump right into these 5 must-try DIY ornaments that will have your tree sparkling in no time. Grab yourself one of these little sets of ornaments from the Dollar Tree. For this project, I'm going to be using the little Christmas tree, and I'm actually breaking off the little loop that's at the top to hang it as an ornament. I just want the little ceramic piece for this, but if you wanted to, you could use some air dry clay and make your own trinket. For our next step, I just taped this down to a paintable surface, and I'm going to be using some green acrylic paint to paint our little tree. I did do 2 or 3 coats to get a really nice coverage. Now, once our paint has completely dried, I'm going to come in with some rub and buff and a stenciling brush. And to apply our rub and buff, I'm going to just lightly take that stenciling brush and go around the outside perimeter of our Christmas tree. Then we're going to set that aside to dry. For this next part here, I'm using these cute ceramic ornaments. I did get them on Amazon, so I'll put a link for them down in my description box below. But I believe you get like 12 of them for $15, so it's a little bit more than $1 per ornament. But I think it's well worth the investment. For my next step here, I'm going to take that same acrylic paint and we're going to paint both sides of the ornament. And to get full coverage on this ornament, I did have to do 3 coats of our acrylic paint. And now that everything has dried, let's put everything together. I have this ribbon that I found at the Dollar Tree this year, and I really like it. It's a white with a little gold trim around the outside edge. And it's a little bit less than 1/4 of an inch in width, so it's a perfect size for an ornament hanger. So we're going to take that ribbon and we're going to string that through our ceramic ornament. And for this hanger, I'm just going to tie a little knot at the top of the ribbon, and then I'm leaving extra ribbon there so that I can tie a cute little bow at the top of the hanger. And this just gives it a different detail and gives the hanger more of a decorative look. And once you're satisfied with your hanger, we're going to go ahead and attach that little tree to our ornament. So I'm just going to flip this over, and I'm going to be using my Type Bond Quick and Thick glue with a little bit of hot glue. And then we're just going to attach that right to our ornament. And once your glue has completely dried, your ornament is ready to hang and display. I just love the vintage vibe that this ornament has. It's so elegant and cute. So I've noticed that the vintage vibe is very popular this year. So I'm curious, are you team tinsel or no tinsel? Let me know what you guys decide to do on your tree down in the comments below. Thanks! I just love these ceramic ornaments. They are such a great base to start a craft. I'm going to start out by just removing that little string that came on the ornament, and we're going to replace that with something different for our hanger. Next, I'm going to take this one-time spackle, and I'm going to take it and I'm going to spread that onto my ornament in the shape of a Christmas tree. Then go ahead and set it aside to dry. Now, once everything has dried, I'm going to take our ornament and I'm going to tape this down to a paintable surface. Next, I grab my Delta Creative metallic white paint, and this is one of my favorite paints, especially during the Christmas season, to use. Next, we'll just go ahead and paint both sides of our ornament. I did do 2 coats of this paint to get a nice shimmer on the ornament. And while we have a quick moment, I want to tell you that this video is part of the Santa's Coming to Town playlist, hosted by Up All Night DIYs, Merely Melissa, and Shabby Meets Bling. Please check out this amazing playlist down in the description box below and give them some love. Thank you so much for watching, and back to our video. Now, once our paint has completely dried, I'm going to go ahead and make a beautiful satin bow to put on top of our ornament. And once we have our bow made, I'm going to take that same satin ribbon and I'm going to use that to make a beautiful hanger. Now, once we've added that hanger to our ornament, I'm going to take that satin bow and we're going to hot glue that right underneath where the hanger sits on top of the tree. And now our little Christmas tree ornament is ready to display. I just love how beautiful this turns out. It's so elegant and neutral, but gives that Christmas vibe. Let me know what you guys think about it down in the comments below. And if you're enjoying this content, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you. So I just love this beautiful napkin, and I know it's not technically a Christmas napkin. I thought this would be beautiful for a Christmas ornament. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to flip this over, and I'm going to take a little piece of painter's tape and just remove the back two layers of this napkin. Next, I grabbed one of these ceramic ornaments, and I got these on Amazon in a 12-pack, and they were about $15 or $16, so a little over $1.25 an ornament, which I still thought was a really good deal. Next, I grabbed my Mod Podge, and I'm going to go ahead and just paint a nice thick coat over the top of this ornament. Then we're going to let this dry. Now we're going to take a quarter of the napkin that we prepped earlier and lay that right over the top of our ornament. Next, I layer a piece of parchment paper right over the top of our napkin. Now I grab my heat press, or a hot iron on low would work just fine, and you just go ahead and iron that napkin right on top of our ornament. Now I'm going to flip our ornament over, and we're going to repeat the same steps. Starting with our Mod Podge, we're going to paint a nice thick coat over the top of our ornament. Next, we're going to let that dry. Then we're going to layer our napkin with a piece of parchment paper on top, and using our hot iron our napkin onto our ornament. And now that we have decoupage on both sides of our ornament, I'm going to grab my zip sander, or you could use a sanding block if you'd like. And sanding in a downward motion, we're going to remove all of the excess napkin from our ornament. And I really like how elegant this is looking. That ceramic ornament really makes a difference when we're making these ornaments. Now, for my next step here, I am going to be using a really thin brush and some Mod Podge. And I'm going to be adding some Mod Podge on half of the ornament in different layers, just kind of around the flowers. It can be sporadic. It doesn't matter where you're adding this Mod Podge. You want the Mod Podge to be nice and wet still. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this foil paper, and I got this at Ben Franklin, but you can also get this on Amazon or at Hobby Lobby. And I'm just going to start layering some of this gold foil over the top of my ornament. And don't worry if you have extra foil over the top of here, because it's only going to stick in the spots where you have the Mod Podge. Now, once you've let that sit for a minute, I go ahead and come in with my dry brush here, and I'm just going to start brushing off some of that foil from my little ornament. And it's going to just leave this nice little hint of foil all throughout the ornament, and it adds this beautiful sparkle. And then if you want to add any more foil to this ornament, just go back in and repeat the same steps. I used a little bit of Mod Podge, And I'm just going to tap some of those extra pieces of foil right on top of those spots. We'll let that dry for just a moment, and then we're going to grab our dry brush and brush any of the excess off. Once you've let the front side of this ornament dry, we're going to repeat the same steps on the back side of our ornament and then around the perimeter of our ornament. Now here is what our ornament looks like when the foil is complete. I did decide to make this a trio set, so I did 3 ornaments. For my next step, I'm going to be taking my weeding tool from Cricut, but you could use a toothpick or something sharp, and we're just going to re-poke the hole where we've decoupaged over for the ornament so we have a place to be able to hang our hanger. And before adding our hanger, I did want to seal these ornaments, so I took them outside, and using my Mod Podge and gloss, I'm going to go ahead and coat both sides of these ornaments. And now that these are sealed and dried, we're going to go ahead and add some finishing touches. I'm going to start out by taking this gold ribbon, and it's really thin. It's less than 1/4 of an inch. And we're just going to go ahead and make some nice gold hangers. And we could completely stop right here if you'd like, but I really wanted to add just a final little touch. So I had a lace panel in my stash that I got at a thrift store earlier last year, and I've been using it for various different crafts, and so I was able to cut a few little strips off of it, and I made 3 little bows. Next, I came in with some hot glue and I added a bow to each one of our ornaments. Then I added a small gold bow on top of the vintage lace just to give it a little bit more sparkle. And this is the same ribbon that I used for the hanger, so it ties the whole piece together. And now this beautiful trio set of ornaments is ready to display. I just love how these turned out. I think this is my favorite ornament set for the year. And I think these would be a wonderful gift for a hostess or to have on top of a present as a tag. This also would make a really fun ornament party with your friends. These Dollar Tree ornaments are a hidden gem. Let's transform this snowflake into an elegant ornament that you would never guess was made from the Dollar Tree. So we're going to take this ornament, and this is so easy. We're going to just tape this down to a paintable surface, and I'm going to be using my Martha Stewart metallic paint here, and this is the pearl color, but you can use whatever metallic paint that you'd like or whatever color you'd like. And then we're just going to go ahead and just paint this ornament on the front and the back side. Then once our paint has dried, I'm going to take some sheer ribbon and give it an elegant look and make a beautiful hanger. Once we have our hanger made, I made another little bow that matched the ribbon, and I'm going to add that to the top of our ornament. And now our beautiful snowflake ornament is ready to hang. I just love how easy and simple this is to make, and it is such an elegant little ornament to add to your tree. As you can probably tell, I am loving these ceramic ornaments. So we're going to go ahead and remove the hanger from this ornament. This ornament is blank on both sides. Since it is already white, I'm going to start out by just adding my Mod Podge directly to the ornament. And I'm just going to paint the Mod Podge over the top of the ornament here and then let this dry completely. Next, I'm going to take this adorable Christmas napkin. I did get this on Amazon, so I will put a link for it down in my description box below. But I'm going to remove the back 2 layers of this napkin, and I use a little piece of painter's tape to do this. Once we've prepped our napkin, I'm going to cut out a small square that is bigger than the ornament that I'm going to use to lay over the top of the ornament. So once we've positioned our napkin over the top of the ornament the way that we would like it, I'm going to take a little piece of parchment paper here and I'm going to layer that on top of the napkin. And using my heat press, or you could use a hot iron, you can go ahead and iron your napkin right onto this ornament. And what I love about this craft is it's a great beginner-friendly decoupage project. So if you've been thinking about trying decoupage, this might be right up your alley. So once you've removed the piece of parchment paper, you can go ahead and we're going to flip this ornament over. And we're going to repeat the same steps on the back side of this ornament where we add our Mod Podge, then we're going to let that dry. We'll then add our napkin on top and then our piece of parchment paper and then iron that into place. Now this back side of the ornament is completely optional. I just like having both sides of my ornament finished so that way if it turns around on the tree, it'll still look nice. Next, I grabbed my little zip sander, but you could use a sanding block or just a piece of sanding paper, and I'm just going to sand off the excess napkin around this ornament. And before I seal my ornament in, I do come in with my Cricut weeding tool, and I'm just going to poke the hole right back into the ornament so we have a way of hanging it. And one of the methods that I like for a wrinkle-free sealer on my decoupage is using Rust-Oleum matte clear enamel as a sealer. And so I take this outside and I just spray both sides of my ornaments with this Rust-Oleum. So now that our ornament has been sealed, I'm going to be taking some Rub and Buff and I'm going to use this as a finishing touch to our ornament. To apply this, I am going to be using a stenciling brush. And all I'm going to do is apply just a tiny bit of Rub and Buff and I'm going to feather this around the outside perimeter of our ornament. And once I've done this to one side of the ornament, we will repeat it on the other side as well. Now, once your Rub and Buff has completely dried, I am going to come back in with this sheer ribbon that I got at the Dollar Tree, and it's just a nice forest green ribbon. They typically have this all year round. And we'll add this to make a little hanger. Once we have our hanger made, I did decide that I wanted to add just a little bit more to our ornament, so I made a bow with the same ribbon, and I'm just going to hot glue that to my ornament. Now that is completely optional. You do not need to do that. You can just leave it the way it is if you are not a bow person. No problem. And I just love how this ornament turns out. It is so cute. I cannot wait to display this year on my tree. Let me know what you guys think of this ornament down in the comments below. And if you're enjoying this content, don't forget you can always hype this video and share this with your friends. Thanks! So I would love to hear from you guys. Let's vote. Which one of these ceramic ornaments do you like best? Do you like number 1, number 2, number 3, or number 4? Let me know in the comments below. And that's a wrap, friends. 5 gorgeous DIY ornaments. I hope you enjoyed making these projects as much as I did. Don't forget to hit that like or subscribe button. And if you'd like to hit that hype button to show this channel a little extra love, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, please remember, craft more, stress less.